I'm here with Lisa Incrocci, a registered holistic nutritionist who several years ago started out on this journey towards better health. A really interesting story. You were making things for a friend of yours at work.
Yes, because at the hospital everyone brings lots of food and goodies, but the poor guy had dietary restrictions that I didn't know much about at the time, so I decided to start looking into vegan options for him so that he could also partake in the snacking. And I started out making cupcakes. So.
How nice of you. Oh my goodness. And so that started you on a journey towards a more plant-based way of eating.
It did, because when I realized how easy it was to make muffins and cupcakes that way, I thought...
And how delicious.
It was delicious, was definitely a big part. I did a blind taste test with all my friends and made the different various cupcakes with almond products, without vegan, and the vegan ones won out, so...
Hey.
Yeah, and it was cheaper, easier. I always picked recipes specifically that had less ingredients. I didn't use the fancy ones. I always picked ones that used as little as possible. No fancy, expensive things in it. Easy to find at any grocery store. And yeah, so I started substituting that way, and I never looked back. I did all my baking vegan from that point on.
That is amazing. And today we're going to be making a recipe, plant-based, of course,
Yep.
a chickpea spread.
Yes.
Okay, but going back a little bit again, so after you did this for your friend and you did all the muffins and everything, you decided to take further training.
Yeah, I had already taken the full culinary art program through the college and decided that I want to learn more about this specific way of cooking and alternatives and how to properly substitute and the technique behind it. So I decided to take an online cooking course specific for plant-based. So, and it was amazing, and the food was unbelievable. And it's still, I use the recipes in our everyday repertoire. This is probably one of a version of one of them. So, yeah,
excellent. So now we're going to make something with chickpeas. I love chickpeas, all that good fiber and good nutrition happening. Tell us what we're doing.
We are making a very versatile chickpea wrap. So we're going to slightly mash them a bit, and then you just throw in whatever fixings you have. You can use whatever you've got in the fridge on hand, and you can omit whatever you don't. So that's how I love it. It's a very quick lunch. It's a very fast recipe.
And totally nutritious.
Yes,
I'm sure the kids love it.
That's the first thing they said when they saw this set up, and Joshua was like, I love this.
So. Perfect. All right, so let's get started.
All right, so first you're going to have your chickpeas. I used a whole can, rinsed and drained and everything, so we're going to throw that in the bowl and mash them a little bit.
Good stuff. You know, some people are afraid to use beans because they think, oh, I shouldn't use it canned, but using the canned is fine. You know, so you can buy the more expensive ones or even the less expensive ones. Just make sure you rinse them off.
Yep.
And, okay. Of course, if you want to do it from scratch, it saves a lot of money when you're buying it in bulk. So there you go.
If you do it from scratch, you can also just do them in big and bulk and then freeze them. So all you have to do is pull it from the freezer. You don't have to do from scratch every single time.
That's perfect.
So they're a little difficult to mash.
You could put it in the food processor.
I was just saying, you could do the food processor. You don't have to make it a paste or anything like a hummus, but I usually just get lazy and slightly mash some. You want to leave some whole
for that texture
and the visual appeal. But again, I usually get lazy and hardly mash them at all, so I want food now. All right, so once you've had the chickpeas mashed to the consistency that you'd like, we've gone ahead and already pre-peeled our carrots, as you will notice.
Right.
So now we can grate them. Either setting, if you want them really small, you can use the smaller grate or the large, it doesn't matter.
Okay, I like doing the large
Large
myself.
is easy for this one too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great, so I'll do that, and what are you doing?
I'm gonna do the celery, so we're gonna do a fine dice on these babies.
Great. And of course, carrots are so fabulous for us with vitamin A and all the carotenoids with the gorgeous color.
I love it for the color pop. That's probably one of the main reasons I put them in there.
Perfect. And tell us about celery.
Celery is wonderful for fiber, and it's got some great water content too, but I like to add it for, again, the color contrast and the crunch. And you want to slice it into little thin strips like I just did. I do it as fine as I can because my children don't really like to see it.
Okay, so you're hiding it for the kiddies.
Exactly. So if you do, like, you can do either size you want, but something small like that for the kids if they really are against celery and finding vegetables like that.
And that's the key to feeding kids sometimes, is hiding the food. You know?
So you have to be a little bit sneaky that way.
A little bit devious. But that's
and I try to teach them how to, I also let them dice their own sometimes too, because it's an easy one to cut, and then they can learn how to keep their fingers down and away from the blade properly.
Exactly. And you know what? Also, including kids in the cooking process helps them to want to eat it.
Get a bit more excited about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I've got my beautiful carrots all done here.
Perfect.
Okay. And so what, then we just add it into this?
And you're gonna throw it right in there. That's the best part. You just chop up whatever you have that you want to use, and it goes right in the bowl.
Perfect, and it's looking like this color pop already. Beautiful.
And once we do that, we're gonna work on the apples.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do the last of this celery here.
Super.
Then we can get the apples going.
Now
And you don't have to use apples, but I just, for some reason, I'm a big fan of adding fruit into weird things.
And
So
it just gives it that nice little bit of sweetness.
it gives a little
the kids
surprise of
probably
sweetness,
love
and the
that.
kids, they
Okay.
definitely do.
Everything's for the kids.
Exactly. Even when I go and get a wrap somewhere else, I'll ask them to throw in some pineapple just because the little pop of sweetness is a nice little surprise sometimes.
Wonderful.
So we're gonna throw those in.
Okay.
They're all nicely finely chopped up.
So now we're adding tomato, apple, and you've got a nifty little gadget there.
I do. It's just kind of a lazy way to core the apple. They have the single cores as well, just the ones that do singly the middle, but this one does it in wedges as well, which is great.
Oh, perfect. Let's
It's
see
like
this.
instant snack for the kids too.
Lovely.
And then it's done.
And it's so pretty. Look at that. Okay. Good stuff. And then
Again.
you're going to chop that up, or?
Yeah, I usually serve a couple on the side with the actual little wraps or whatever. You can use pitas as well, but I brought salad with me today.
Okay.
And yeah, so I just put a couple pieces in with my wraps, and then I put the rest sliced beside it.
Okay. And I'll just slice up some of these tomatoes.
Yeah, again, optional. I don't usually
Actually.
put tomatoes in, but then as a garnish on the side for the end, I thought today it would look nice for another little added color bonus because there's not really so much red. So I'm gonna cut these apples into little thin slices, and then I'm gonna dice them sideways again.
So this really does have all the colors going on. So far we've got the orange, the green, we've got the reds happening here. This is going to be visually appealing. And of course, fabulously nutritious.
Of course, I had to giggle when he said appealing. I was like, yes, think of the carrots.
Pun intended.
I know.
Okay, great.
The other thing I'm going to add afterwards is the mayonnaise, which we have some of. You don't need to use a processed store-bought mayonnaise either. I'm going to do a mixture of mayo as well as Nature's Mayo avocado.
And you've got avocados coming out of your ears.
Ears
and around your neck.
everywhere.
Beautiful. Love it. And it's such a good food, though.
It is, and they're delicious, even just on toast with some salt.
Oh, and a little bit of lemon juice on top sometimes.
Or even a drizzle of a fancy oil with some cracked
Getting
wine.
hungry, getting hungry.
Just like zoning out into bliss.
But tell us, how do you cut an avocado properly?
Well, first you want to make sure it's ripe. You can feel that a little bit. If it's got a bit of a give and it's soft, you know it's ready to go. Or you can peel off the little tip that I did, and if it's yellow, it's pretty much good. If it's green, that means it's too underripe, and if it's brown, it's probably too far gone.
Good tips.
And there's two ways to actually get the flesh out, which we'll go over. I start at the top, and you want to just gently, and you can use a smaller knife if you're scared of big knives, but you go down till you feel the pit, and just carefully slide it all the way around the avocado till you meet to the other end, and then you just twist it open.
Beautiful inside.
Now, this is the part where we get in trouble at the hospital where I work. We get a lot of hand surgeries from people attempting to get the pit out.
Oh my goodness.
We see a lot of don't want to do that. Or they hold it in their hand and try to do this fancy TV whack. You don't want to do that either.
Okay.
So if you're going to do the whack in the pit, you put it down. You don't touch it. And then you can do that. Then you can twist it and get it out.
Perfect.
However, the other way to do it is, we're going to pretend that was still in there. If you're going to mash it up anyways, you just give a little squish and it releases right out anyways, and you dump it.
Perfect.
So if you don't care about if you don't care about a few cracks and you're going to mash it, it doesn't matter. Just give it a quick little squish and the pit will pop right out. You don't need to do the fancy. Much safer. All right, so once you have that, you can just simply scoop the flesh out. I just stick a spoon in the top and follow all along, pushing down towards the skin. And then that's all there is to it.
That's perfect. And you know what? With the pit, you know you can eat the pit.
I do. Most people probably don't know that.
Most people don't realize. An excellent way to use this is to put it in your smoothie, in your green smoothie. And we both know about green smoothies. But yeah, just you can cut this in half, put it in your smoothie. If you've got a powerful blender, it'll blend that all up. And there's such good nutrition right here in this seed that most of us throw away. So just something to think about. And we're talking about, you know, wonderful fats in here. These are the fats that your body can actually use. We've brought in the troops. We've got
Reinforcements.
Zachary and Joshua to help us finish off this recipe.
They have been so waiting to do this. I've been so anxious.
Yes, they have. All right,
So patient.
how are we going to finish off, guys?
Well, Josh was gonna add the mayonnaise and the mustard. I don't like a whole lot of mustard, so I just use a little bit, but
Perfect.
so I'm gonna scrape
Yep,
them to
go
there, buddy.
right ahead.
Right over the bowl.
Perfect. And that's just going to...
And Zachary's gonna add the salt
And pepper.
and the pepper.
White on tomatoes.
Okay, on the tomatoes, that works perfectly. And Josh is gonna add the mayonnaise now, which again isn't
Great.
necessary if you have a whole lot of avocado, but I'm just using both today because
Okay, perfect.
I love salt and pepper.
I know you love salt and
Oh,
pepper.
so cute.
Especially on avocado. Perfect.
Good. Thanks, guys. That's so
Awesome.
good. And then we're just going to mix that about. I like to tell people, when you're shopping, shop for the colors. Make sure that your
the
shopping cart
rainbow.
has a ton
Eat
of color
the
in there.
rainbow.
So many ways to serve this. You can stick it in a pita pocket. You can even grill it a bit, heat it up if you really want to. But I eat out of the bowl because
It's so good.
I'm really tempted to start right now.
Oh my goodness,
Or you can
yes.
stick it in lettuce if you don't want to do a whole lot of bread or something. Or yeah, so you can just prop it right in there and use your lettuce as a little scoop.
That's perfect. Look at that beautiful presentation. You were telling me about your kids, how they started when you were taking your courses. They were also doing their prepping and all the rest of it.
Yes, so when Joshua was watching me do all the plating of food, he got really into it and started doing his own snacks, which was really funny. He would place everything just so, have one little cracker with one little blueberry and one little popcorn, all
Perfect.
symmetrical.
We've got a budding chef there. Or just
Or, as my kids were demanding,
bowl,
they want
yes.
some in a bowl to just eat directly, so it's much less messy, and you get a whole lot more mix. Yeah,
great.
so there you have it.
Lovely.
So one last flavor thing I wanted to mention
Yeah.
was when we used to make salad back in the day, we used to add in green Thai curry paste as well. So you can either change up the whole profile of like what you're going for. You can do Mediterranean, or you can add the Thai flavorings and go that way, or even just yellow curry and go with an actual curry flavor. So you can change it up however you
Oh,
want.
absolutely. When I make this recipe, I sometimes use a mock chicken flavor, along with a little bit of curry. So yeah,
Nice. That would be
absolutely. All
amazing.
kinds of different ways to do it. Let's taste this.
All right,
It
I'll
looks
go
so
for
good.
this one.
You go for the big one.
Awkward.
Yeah.
It's gonna be harder to eat. I'll let you go for the easier one to hold.
Thank you. So good of you.
This is gonna be messy.
But it's going to be so good. Okay, here we go.
All right.
This is lovely. This is
Turned out really
good.
good.
It did. Okay, so Lisa, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. And Zachary and Joshua, thank you so much. They're enjoying
Yeah.
this. This is good.
Awesome.
Thanks
Well, thank
again.
you so much. It was great being here.
Fabulous.